We're back. Solutions for Mental Wellness Season 2 has begun. And we want to talk a little bit about what we did in Season 1. We're doing that today with our producer, Diana Valerie. Diana, I love the segments that we do together.
Thanks, Susan.
You have such a unique personality, and I love how direct you are and how you keep everything running and going, including me. And so let's talk about how challenging that was in our first season.
Well, it was new for everybody.
Yeah.
And we weren't really sure how it was going to come together, but it came together really, really easy.
It did. I just loved it.
So the topics, I think, last season, there was a lot.
We ran the gamut.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about faith and healing.
Mm-hmm. Cultivating peace in your home.
Raising children from all the way from infancy until we launched them from the home. Mm-hmm. And one that's really close to my heart is that intergenerational trauma with Terrence Dawkins.
Yeah. So, and I loved all of your guests. This season, moving forward, is going to be a little bit different, but I don't know, lots of changes. It's going to look different. Every season might look different. So I'm kind of excited about seeing how this one works out in post-production, and if it's appealing to the same. We're trying to build and grow the community. We want to grow our community of solution seekers. And so we're hoping that...
And partners, people who want to come alongside of us.
We want to catch everybody in between. So we just really appreciate everybody's patience in watching us go through the motions and figuring out what's going to stick.
How to learn to do a podcast, how to bring you topics and information, and that anyone who's watching or listening to our podcast, that they can walk away feeling like they did not waste 20 minutes of their time, that they actually have added to their life from listening to our podcast.
Yeah. How did it feel for you on camera last time?
I loved it. And I think each guest was so different. And the relationship I have with each guest is different. And I think that just came through in the podcast. And I hope that what we shared, it's a beginning. Mm-hmm. It's the genesis of our podcast. And so maybe we go back and we revisit some of those topics and expand on them in the future.
What was your favorite thing about last season? What was your favorite topic last season?
My favorite topic is always going to be faith and healing, but that can get really deep and involved. And so that is my all-time favorite. And we didn't even get a drop in our last season of what that could have been. But for years, I have been trying to understand the effects of trauma on the person. And with the research that has come out, with understanding that there is a generational component to trauma, and that what is that like for the person, for the family, and how people can heal and grow together. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of hope in that. In the deepest, darkest places like trauma, hope can come from that.
Yeah, and probably the more we record, the more we're going to be talking about different traumas. There's going to probably be a lot of repeat information because it's all very cohesive.
Yes. And I think because we are new, we're just giving people general overviews, but we could probably spend 15, 20 minutes just talking on one part of any topic.
Yeah, that wouldn't be hard. Mm-hmm. Not with some of the topics we've gone over in my life. One topic can take much longer than 20 minutes, I'm sure.
Hours and hours and hours.
What was the most challenging thing for you last time?
Just seeing myself on camera. I am not the best physical version of myself right now.
You're being super honest. It's all of our discomforts.
Yeah. Well, I have learned that if I want to grow as a person, that the first person I have to be honest with is myself. And I have been a client in therapy for 25 years. And I'm learning that I have always spun things to be positive, even when they weren't, and that's not healthy. It may sound good, and it may help the people around me, but it's really not good for me. So I'm learning how to be raw and vulnerable, and maybe in the future we do talk about physical health and
definitely me too.
Yeah.
We kind of walked through some things like this. I don't see myself the way I present myself, those type of topics. And I think we touch on that in one of this season's episodes in in the starting points when you're recovering from addiction. When we were talking, we're going to be talking with John Beck, and he kind of mentions the starting point or how to view yourself, finding your purpose. It was a weird thing. Anytime my life changed, anytime you go through a life change,
to do that self-evaluation.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, do the self-evaluation. And then our first guest, Zach Miller, he gave us an overview of addiction, and we spent much of the time talking about alcohol or substance use, but that can really be applied to any addiction, including food or social media, or you pick a something.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Heritage Institute is very pleased to announce that they have a partner. And Bridge City Coffee has come along beside of us to help make these podcasts happen. And not only have they decided to partner with us, but through this partnership, we've discovered that they have a location near each of our upstate offices. So there's 3 in Greenville, 1 in Travelers Rest, 1 in Greenville, actually 2 in Greenville. So if you're in our area, we'd love for you to stop by. Their vision is pretty simple. They want to build value and hope in people through coffee. And so as is with Heritage, we value the people we serve. Bridge City Coffee values the people that they serve. So stop by and check them out.
I think another one of our biggest challenges last season was money. Funding everything. You always think a production is going to cost a certain amount, and then you get in there and there's that one other thing or another need. And that's something that we're definitely going to be growing into too. Hopefully collecting more equipment. Yeah. We're going to bring in somebody from the house, and we'll talk about Heritage's needs.
Yeah. Well, and that is something that I'm learning is actually a point of pride for me. And it's another area of growth that I'm having to do in my personal walk, because asking people for help is hard.
Yeah. It's easier to do it yourself sometimes.
It is.
And then nobody's let down.
And and to pay for things yourself and all those things. And so I'm learning that actually isn't what gives the Lord the most glory. He wants his people to work together as a team, as a family, to bring him glory. And he doesn't call us to isolation.
Yeah, so maybe we're kind of setting the tone for other people to be more authentic, not to overuse the word, but we gotta start cultivating and creating more of an openness. I think in Christian community, especially, with it's okay. You can admit you're human.
In the book of James, it actually says that I'm gonna say it literally as it says there, that if we confess our sins to one another, we will be healed. But a layman's way to say that is when we share our struggles, when we tell someone else what we're dealing with, that is very healing. And so, but what shame does and what our society does is say, oh, if we have something we're struggling with, that's something we need to keep silent and in private and deal with it ourselves. But that's not what the Bible actually teaches, is when we can safely say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, and someone else listen to hear it and not to fix it. That is one of the greatest challenges that I know I have, because I'm such a fixer, problem solver, just by nature. But I think also with the people that we work with is, helping people understand that the first step in any relationship is listening to the person you're in relationship, just to see them, to know them. And then that creates the space for the trilogy in my life is love. Those are 3 things that really are the core of who I am and how I want to practice and what I want anyone who tunes in to this podcast to see and know. And, no one is perfect. There's not going to be this podcast isn't going to be perfect. And I don't think that if it was that, maybe the people would tune in and listen, but we will be real, and we will share our hearts in order to connect with people that we don't see and know, so that maybe they can go and find support so that they can get their needs met in healthy ways.
Yeah. So last season, we brought some really hard topics. They were good topics. And this season, we're going to be on one topic, and looking forward to that. What is that topic?
So this season, we are going to be focusing on addiction. Zach Miller, he's going to bring to us, just define it, do an overview. John Beck, we're going to talk about how to move from active addiction into recovery. And then we have some guests who are in recovery who are going to be sharing their experiences, because it's important to know that there is hope wherever someone is, whether they're in the pit of despair, that there is hope. And someone who is maybe 5 years in recovery, but yet they're getting discouraged because they're not where they thought they would be, that there is hope. I hope you all tune in and listen for Solutions for Mental Wellness.